All right, Joseph Parker and Fabio Wardley are going to fight each other October 25th out in the UK at the O2 Arena. I'm assuming this is going to be on the Zone. No, it is the Zone. It's actually the Zone pay-per-view. Look, I made two other videos today. One of the fights was Inoue against MJ Akhmadaliev. That's going to be on Sunday, all right, this coming Sunday. And that is an undisputed fight. It's actually one of the best matches that could be made at that division. And we have no broadcaster. Okay. I don't even know how I'm going to watch the fight. All right. It's literally the morning right after Canelo and Crawford. Then I made a second video talking about Mike Tyson against Floyd Mayweather. And even though people are complaining about that fight, I said I don't think there's anything wrong with the fight because it's not really getting in the way of any other fights. These two are retired. They're legends. They're just looking to make a little bit more money, while they still can in the ring. And then you have Joseph Parker against Fabio Wardley, which is a pay-per-view. It's a pay-per-view. I've been I've been a yearly subscriber to the Zone since they came out. All right. I've never paid monthly for the Zone. I've been paying annually since the beginning. All right. It's part of my bills that I pay. um, and they went a few years without having any pay-per-views. And then when they did have pay-per-views, I think it was Canelo or AJ or something. It was very rare when we got them. But now it's almost every weekend, it's getting to that point where we're getting them all the time. And I know Turkey Al Sheikh said at some point, as far as Riyadh season cards, there's a cutoff time for the pay-per-views, which is great news. But I think we're paying for more pay-per-views right now than what we did for PBC and Showtime a couple years ago. Yeah. You cannot justify the pay-per-view. Okay. My point in bringing up the other content that I made, if we're going to complain about something in boxing, let's complain about the fact that no one picked up, no network, no major network picked up the Naoya Inoue fight. No one picked that up. And that's an undisputed fight. And it's against a good opponent. It's not like Joe Neem Kim or whoever the other guy he fought a couple fights ago. It's a legitimate fight. It's against a former unified champion at that division. So we have no broadcaster for that fight, right? And it's an undisputed fight against what many consider a top 3 pound for pound fighter. And in this fight here, which is a good fight, and I like both guys. Love both guys, actually. I actually like them both for the same reason. They're both gentlemen. They're good. They're good fighters. They're probably two of the nicest guys out there. They're very humble. Yet, and I think the styles match up great. I mean, this is a good matchup. But why is it pay-per-view? You know what I mean? It just, when you're a person that actually does, like if you're one of those people like myself that actually pays for these events, it kind of makes you want to start streaming. You know what I mean? Like for the people that have been out there streaming for years, they're probably just going to continue streaming. You know what I mean? Because stuff like this is not a pay-per-view fight, man. I watch a lot of sports and boxing, costs 20 times the amount of money. And the quality a lot of times it's not even better. I mean, this is a good fight. It's a good fight. It's not a great fight. You know what I mean? It's a fight that people should be having at the heavyweight division, at this level. This is one of those kind of fights. But it's not a pay-per-view, So when we talk about problems, It's not old men fighting in exhibitions. It's fights not being broadcasted, major fights. It's fights like this that are normal fights for a Saturday night that are pay-per-view for people that's outside, I guess, local, you know. Everyone here in the States are gonna have to pay to see it. And I don't know what they're trying to do. Like, how do you get more eyes on the sport when you're charging a premium fee for each and in every event? You know what I'm saying? How do you do that? You know? Um so as far as the fight, listen, I love the fight. I don't think it's 50-50. I think Parker is definitely the favorite, but I think Fabio Warley has more than a puncher's chance. All right. He has a good chance of winning this fight. Um, I like both of the guys, like I was saying earlier. I like Fabio Warley because he's a guy that's learning on the job. 19 wins with 18 knockouts. All right. And he's been beating up some quality people. He has one draw, which that is the only blemish on his record. But he went on to avenge that draw with the best knockout of the year. Was that this year or last year? He fought Frazier Clark late last year in a rematch. All right. I went to the first fight. In the first fight between him and Frazier Clark, it was one of the best fights I've ever seen at a live event, you know. So I was fortunate enough to take that trip out there to see this fight out in the UK. And I was at the O2 for that fight. And look, Fabio Worthy, the reason why I give him a lot of credit is because he has no amateur pedigree. To come in and only have 20 professional fights and to be fighting a former champion and fighting at this level against guys that's been boxing for decades before he did, you know, before he started, is a huge win. Somebody I respect. And anytime he gives an interview, he basically tells you, like, I'm just learning. I know these guys like Justice Huoney, who he beat and knocked out, where he was getting crushed every round. All right. What round did he knock Huoney out in? The 10th round. He's basically letting you know, like, yo, a lot of these guys box better than me. You know, David Adelaide had more experience. Justice Huoney, Frazier Clark was a good amateur. Like, a lot of these guys are good, you know, and he keeps finding a way to knock him out. And, you know, it's one thing when you are a prospect, like Edgar Berlanga, for example, when you're just knocking out everybody in the first round, right? And then you step up and then you're forced to box because now you just can't knock these guys out. You're winning on points. You know what I mean? Because you're fighting better opposition. That's not what's happening with Fabio Worley. Worley is finding a way to knock these guys out that are outboxing him or supposed to be better boxers than him. So that's why I like the guy, because he understands what's going on. And he's going into these fights as he keeps leveling up in the talent that he's facing. And this is like at the highest level now. He's still learning through every fight. And even though it's not always pretty, because yes, his lack of experience is causing him to lose a lot of rounds. Okay. But he's finding a way to get the knockout. And I can respect that. You know what I mean? And if he does lose this fight or any fight in the future, I'm still going to always look out for him. He's already 30 years old, so he didn't really have a lot of time to get to the top. But his journey to where he gotten here is pretty dope. You know, kind of reason why I like Anthony Yard too. Not much of an amateur background. He got good really, really quickly. You know, he's just a natural. And even though he's lost a few times, it took the guys at the highest level to beat him. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's go into Joseph Parker, who is another guy I like. Now, you know, had a lot of more experience than Fabio Wardley, right? And as a pro, he took his steps, became champion, lost, but I mean, this man literally have fought. Somebody's blasting the music from their car outside. Anyway, Joseph Parker has fought everybody. Some of the older guys, some of the newer guys, some of the guys in his class, and he continues to do it. And he's at his actual prime right now, 33 years old. I would say that he's better than when he was younger. Yeah, some of these wins has to do with timing and fighting these guys at the right time. But he's not always in control of that. You know what I mean? And I think right now, he is a WBO mandatory. He was already ordered, or I'm sorry, Usyk was ordered to fight him next after beating Daniel Dubois in a rematch. But Usyk has an injury, and that's a whole nother story because Usyk was seen in video dancing and stuff like that. But this fight is happening, so it doesn't even really matter right now. And Parker, who I think is deserving of another title shot, is fighting Fabio Wardley, and he has the experience. Obviously, he has the boxing ability. I think he is the more technically sound. I think he is, when it comes to IQ, I think he has it. I think he has obviously has the experience. But at the end of the day, this is a heavyweight division, man. And at the end of the day, he's fighting a guy that can end it in one punch. People call this guy Worley the British Wilder, and it's true. But he wasn't no bronze medalist. You know what I mean? He's not taking 30, 40 fights to show that he can stop guys at the line. He's doing it right now. And if Parker isn't careful, this guy could knock him out. Parker could knock him out as well. But I've seen Parker get dropped by Dillian White. I've seen him get dropped by Derek Chisora. You know what I mean? Gilles Jean. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen him get dropped a good amount of times. I've seen him have fights where he just didn't look good at all. You know what I mean? So Parker, as good as he is, if he's not careful, and the longer this guy is still walking around in that ring, as long as he's still getting up off his stool and doing another round with you, he's always dangerous. Ask Justice Huey. You can be up all rounds and still get knocked out if you're not careful. It takes one punch with this guy. I seen him put a dent in Frazier Clark's head. Okay? That's not a guy you mess around with. So when you're a guy like Parker, I don't think he should fight recklessly. I don't think he's the best defender. I think he's one of the more elusive heavyweights out there, but he still gets hit. And I think if you're a guy like Parker, you have to proceed with caution at all times. And if a guy like Derek Chisora, and again, I'm not trying to bash Derek at all, but if Chisora could put you down the way that he did, Joe Joyce too. Joe Joyce actually stopped him. I didn't even bring him up. If these guys could connect and land on a Parker that moves fairly well, I wouldn't put it past Worley to at least knock him down. I don't know what the odds are. I didn't check. But if there's an option in there to bet on knockdowns, not knockouts, but knockdowns, I don't know how this fight is going to play out, but I can see some knockdowns being there, at some point. I do think Parker is a level above everyone that Wardley has faced, even though Wardley's fought some good people. Parker is at the elite level, being in there with everybody but Fury and Usyk. He's been in there with everybody else. You know what I mean? So, at the end of the day, Parker should win this fight. How does he win it? I can see him winning on points. I can see him winning by stoppage. But if Wardley is to win this fight, it's definitely going to be by stoppage. For sure. I don't see him consistently not outboxing Parker, but I can see him knocking Parker down more than once in this fight. You know, so I'm leaning towards Parker, but depending on how those bets are that day, how I feel in that week, after I do my film study, uh, I might throw a little bit more on Wardley for the knockout if it looks good, man. If it looks good, I'll tell you that. I'll tell you this. I like Wardley's chances better than that version of Bacoli that night against Parker. Zhilei Zhang, I wouldn't say I like his chances above him, but Zhang was able to drop Parker twice. The only problem with Zhang is dude has the worst cardio in the heavyweight division right now. All right. Wilder, I like his chances more than Wilder from that night. Wilder looked terrible, and he hasn't looked good in a long time. All right, since Fury 3. Outside of that, Wardley, I like his chances over a lot of these other recent guys, but I would say those main three, I like his chances. All right. So I'm leaning towards Parker to win this one, but don't sleep on Wardley. If the money is good, if you get some back, a good return, or I'm betting on a knockout for Wardley, go for it. All right. I will do a breakdown when we get closer to the fight. Obviously, we got a lot of stuff going on in boxing this week, so I just wanted to do an initial first thoughts video on it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please subscribe, hit that subscribe button, and also hit the thumbs up for me. Like the video if you like the content, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.